Hello, I'm Lori Steiner, sitting in for Armin Budish. Welcome to Golden Opportunities.
Today, we'll reveal 5 tools that helped a woman lose 70 pounds, and they could help you too. Then, do you have an inner artist? We'll draw the conclusion that creativity enhances aging. He found he could begin to grin again. We'll hear about one man's mouth makeover. Plus, we'll roll a few films that could help you make the most of your marriage. And 3 divorce traps that can cost you a bundle.
Time to get you going, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. Denise Dalton had been dieting for 40 years and nothing seemed to work. So why in the last year has she been able to lose 70 pounds? Denise is here to weigh in on her success along with Angela Majorly, who helped her scale back on eating and pump up exercising. Angela is a registered dietitian with Metro Health. Welcome to the both of you here on the show. So Denise, we're going to ask you a question first. So before you started working with Angela, what was life like?
Well, I was sitting on the couch, heading for a 250 pounds on the scale. I was in arthritic pain, and I was heading for diabetes. So I knew at that point, and I couldn't take it anymore. I decided to call my primary care physician, and I said, okay, I have to do something about this because the pain was getting too much. And he got me into Angela.
Okay, so you've tried before. Why was this time different? I mean, is it because you were working with a nutritionist?
I worked with a couple of nutritionists before that, and it would work for me for just maybe 2 months. And then I wanted to go back to my old way of eating. I wasn't an exercise person or anything. And hear what Angela said to me, and it just clicked. I was ready for it, and it just clicked like that. She said, go for a walk after lunch.
Okay.
And I thought that was different because this time it's a time slot. Because all the other people in all my life, doctors, go for a walk, go for a walk. Well, I'm not going to go for a walk. That just any time, any place, and I always had something.
I got around to it.
I had excuses because I don't like to walk, so I had excuses. Well, I can't do that, so I really didn't want to do it. But when she said after lunch, then I went home, and the next day when I ate lunch, I had this little voice in my head, Angela, and I heard, "Oh, we'll go for a walk. You ate lunch." And I thought, well, I'm retired, so I don't have no excuse not to go for a walk. And that's exactly what I did. And I thought, well, you know what? I'll go 2 streets up. My streets are very small. So I'll just go 2 streets up and I'll be back home, which I was in 5 minutes. Good. Never have to do that again. So the next day, after lunch, the voice again in my head, go for a walk after lunch. And I thought, well, you know what? No excuse. I'm going to go 3 streets up. And I did that, and I haven't stopped since.
Excellent, excellent. So, Angela, as Denise was mentioning, exercise is a real important part of her weight loss plan. What else did you recommend to her, though?
So we focused a lot on portion control. We started out with a diabetic diet, not because she was diabetic, but because it really focused on healthy eating habits and portion. So we spent a lot of time talking about portion control. Denise was also making some poor snack choices, especially in the evening and the afternoon after lunch. So I highly encourage that she get those snacks out of her house and get the junk food out, because if it's not there, she can't eat it.
Right.
And the other really important thing was record keeping. And since Denise is a writer, this was perfect for her. She kept wonderful record of her dietary intake, her activities, and even how she was feeling, and eventually got onto using an online tool where she found some community support and that. So
excellent, excellent.
Yeah,
so, and you two have actually bonded, right? You're going to run a 5K or walk a 5K?
We're walking.
Oh, walking. I don't think I could do running either.
Actually, I did walk a 5K last year.
Oh, yeah?
Right, and I wasn't last, but I finished, so I was happy, and I'm running again.
Right, that's
So
important.
we're very excited about this. Last year we walked a 1K fundraiser, and this year we signed up for the 5K together, and this is really exciting. And Denise is just so inspiring. I'm just so glad that she finally heard the message in a different way, and that we've connected so well. And she's been so successful. That's been great.
Good. You look great. I bet you feel great too.
I feel great. Actually, I feel like I'm 40. When I was sitting on the couch, I was like waiting for death. I knew what a 90-year-old invalid felt like. And to be right now today, fantastic. It's great. If everybody can walk to their car, you can go and walk past the car.
Good advice.
And get well, like
All
I
right.
did.
Great for you. So Denise took a step in the right direction, and then she kept on walking. That, combined with Angela's advice on what and how to eat, led Denise to a big loss of weight and a huge gain, a new zest for life. My thanks to both Angela and Denise for joining us today.
Thank you.
To learn more, call Metro Health at 216-778-7800 or visit www.metrohealth.org. Next, Artfully Aging. But first, Helen Keller had sound reason for the dedication of her autobiography, The Story of My Life. So, who was the person she mentioned in the front of her memoirs? His name will ring a bell, and we'll call out the answer when we return.
My husband and I got into the car, and we couldn't do it. We couldn't pick one baby over the other. Coming to Metro changed the entire pregnancy. We actually started to become happy with our situation. We owe a big thank you to Metro. I can't imagine our family without Sam.
When Helen Keller dedicated her autobiography to Alexander Graham Bell, it spoke volumes about his impact on her life. Bell's mother and wife were both deaf, which motivated him to develop several assistive devices, though his fame came from fashioning the telephone. Bell also was a teacher of the deaf, and he helped guide Helen Keller's education decisions. They developed a lifelong friendship that was one for the books.
The arts may be essential for easing aging. Linda Nolke is here to paint a picture of how drama, dance, and drawing can increase our abilities. Linda is the Senior Vice President of Planning and Organizational Resources and the Director of the CATS Policy Institute, both at the Benjamin Rose Institute on Aging. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, we've all been told to do the brain games, like word searches and crossword puzzles to maintain our brain. How do the arts impact aging?
Well, there's a growing body of scientific evidence that shows that older adults who participate in arts programs, be it dance, singing, or visual arts like painting, have a significant impact on their health and their well-being. It not only affects their emotional health, but their physical health as well.
That's amazing.
For example, if you have a movement disorder like Parkinson's, the best thing you can do is learn to dance the tango.
Oh, the tango, that's the one?
It gait, balance, it affects them both positively.
Okay, so you started talking about dance, so that's a performing type art. Theater, dance, and music. So how about the theater and the music part of that?
Well, there's been research showing that if older adults go into theatrical training, that it improves their cognitive functioning, their memory, their recall, problem solving. So there are a range of effects that are tied to certain kinds of art forms, whether it's visual or performing.
Mm-hmm. How about music?
Music has a wonderful effect on older adults. In fact, I met a gentleman whose wife developed frontal lobe dementia, and that affects your language abilities. And so while she was having trouble speaking, she could sing in a chorus.
Oh my goodness.
And so the two of them performed together in this chorus for a number of years, and it really slowed the rate of her loss of language skills.
That's amazing. Okay, we talked about performance. How about the visual arts like painting, drawing, photography, sculpture? How does that help?
Well, there was a recent study that was done in which the scientist allocated adults to 3 groups. One engaged in digital camera learning and Photoshop. The other group just met together and talked about favorite movies or books. In the third group, the individuals just stayed at home and listened to music or watched movies. And what she found was that the group that engaged in the more complex activity, the Photoshop and the camera, they retained their memory functions at a higher level for a longer point of time. Over a year, you were still seeing positive effects.
That's great. I mean, exercising your brain is helpful.
Right. So Scrabble and word puzzles may be helpful and enjoyable, but the more complex the activity, the better off you are.
Okay, how about doing it in groups?
Well, that's an interesting point, because it's not only the activity that has some positive effects, but it's the socialization. So we're still trying to untangle exactly what accounts for these positive effects on health and well-being.
Okay, but you have more information, right? It's very important about the arts, and you're going to be teaching it in a seminar, so tell us about that.
Right. October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, Benjamin Rose Institute is putting on an expressive arts conference called How Do We Experience Our World? The Use of Expressive Arts for Community Transformation.
All right, it sounds like it'd be very interesting based upon what you've told me today.
Right.
So, do a dance, paint a picture, write up your reflections. No matter what artistic path you choose, your new creative choice will enhance your life. My thanks to Linda Nolker for drawing us into this important picture of creative aging.
For more information, call the Benjamin Rose Institute on Aging at 216-790-8000 or click to www.benrose.org. Next, open wide. Looking for places to go, things to do? Welcome to our community calendar. Want to get to know the Gateway District? Do you know the past of the Playhouse Square? Ever see behind the scenes at the Civic Center? All you have to do is take a hike. 5 free guided walking tours take you around town while actors portraying people from the past educate and entertain you. There are different days and times for each tour, so to pick the place you want to walk, call 216-771-1994 or stop by their website, www.clevelandgatewaydistrict.com/history/heritage.
When should you stop caring about how you look or how you feel? How about never? Does never work for you? It works for Robert Young, who is 88. With encouragement from his son Jason, Robert decided he should be able to continue to enjoy eating as well as sharing his smile. Robert and Jason have joined us today, along with dentist Steve Marsh, to tell the tale of Robert's retooled teeth. So why don't you tell us what type of teeth did you have, or what type of problems did you have?
It all started when I was in the service. It was on maneuvers, and my front teeth got knocked out.
Ooh.
And over the years, I had partials. Partial here and partial there. And my trouble was, I'm a sort of a farmer boy. I like sweet corn and eat it off the cob. And you can't do it with partial.
I was going to say that would be very difficult, huh?
Very difficult. So then we watched Dr. Marsh on television, and he could do everything. And we made an appointment. That's where we are today.
All right. So, Jason, when Dad told you he was having some issues with the teeth, you were actually the one who said, go for it, go get some work done, right?
Yeah, it happened to be the one segment when Dr. Marsh had mentioned about partials versus maybe putting in a permanent bridge. And as soon as the show was over, I was on the phone to him, and I said, we're going to go up. I said, you have some money to spend on yourself, and, why not, no matter how old you are, why not make yourself look as good as you can for as long as you can? And so that's kind of where we kind of made that decision, and so I made the phone call.
All right. But why Dr. Marsh? I mean, it isn't exactly in the backyard of where you live.
That's true. He's about an hour and a half or so away from us, and just as it happens to be, so are you. And you are our attorney for the last 8 years. And so seeing both of you together on the show, and we realized that this was the man to go see. When we went there, his staff was very welcoming, and we kind of make a half a day or a whole day out of it. And the best part is I get a free meal. So it works for me, you know, no matter what we do. And like I said, we'd seen him enough on the weeks that magical Sunday, I said, Dad, this is what we got to do. And so that's
Something
kinda
just
where
clicked that day.
Yep.
All right. So, Steve, what did you do to restore Robert's smile?
Well, first of all, Lori, we sat down around this table, or a table in my office, and we went through it. And I have to tell you, it's wonderful meeting Jason. It's nice for a son to want to give back to a father. Oftentimes parents take care of their kids, and he said, Dad, it's about time to take care of yourself. And being a veteran of the Air Force, he was an Army, you know, I sympathize with what happened. We sat down, we looked at different options, and again, he wanted to get rid of the partial, and we have some pictures that help show what we did with Robert. There's the example of an old partial, and many of the viewers may have had him for 20, I think Robert said over 20 years he had that.
Many partials.
Yeah, and so again, he couldn't enjoy sweet corn. It also torques the teeth, and when you have those old partials, it collects food and it breaks it down. And he said, you know, I'd really like to have something permanent. So actually, Lori, this is a picture of the temporaries we put in. Again, we like to do provisionals because we wanted him to be comfortable with them, wanted to make sure the length was correct. We actually changed that and adapted it a little. So that's a permanent bridge. Now we do them in all porcelain. And I think the pictures speak for themselves.
Absolutely.
The interesting thing with Robert, if you look at that first, is that very hesitant smile. And I can't tell you how many people come to our office when we say smile for the picture. They've been hiding their teeth, Robert, for many years. And now it's a whole different Robert. So it's very gratifying. And then ultimately we went down. He had worn his lower teeth. And after we did the upper, Jason and they said, let's do something about
Might as
the
well,
bottom.
yeah.
And you can actually see how much wear had happened. You can actually see where the nerve actually comes through. And we used a combination of porcelain veneers and porcelain crowns and had to match up the where the upper teeth were. That's why you don't see a full arch. But it was a pleasure getting to know them as well, as you can tell.
Yeah. So are you happy with your smile?
Very happy. But everybody says, where do you come from?
And we're also, his staff is one of the most welcoming staffs we ever could have met, and they just do everything for us, and we have encouraged other people, and hopefully we'll be able to get some other people and, you know,
It's great to hear your story.
get them smiles back.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
So don't let age decide whether dental work is worth it. You use your teeth every day. They're not a luxury item. Follow Robert's example and restore your smile's form and function. My thanks to Robert, Jason, and Steve for a story that makes all of us smile.
See what Dr. Stephen Marsh can do for your smile by calling 440-461-1003 or visit www.clevelandsmiles.com. Next, movies for mates. It's time to get up and go, an exercise minute on golden opportunities.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness, and today we're going to show you how to strengthen those ever-important shoulder muscles. You ready to go?
I am absolutely ready to go.
Let's do it. We have exercise bands here. This is called a front raise using our exercise band. What we're going to do is we're going to step on the center of the band. Okay, we want to again offset our feet so that way we make sure we stay nice and balanced. Maintain very good posture. All we're going to do is simply bring the handle of the band up to about shoulder height and then lower it back down to your thigh, okay? Again, we're looking for 15 to 20 repetitions on this one. Use slow and controlled movements and make sure you're breathing. How you feeling, Lori?
Oh, that's tough.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
and
this is a
actually,
good
Lori
one.
is doing a very good variation of this exercise where she's using both arms together. So you can do either individually or like Lori's doing here, you can do them both together.
Cut time in half.
That's right, fantastic. All right, everybody, 12 to 15, 2 to 3 sets. And now it's your turn to get up and go.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, please send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 23240 Chagrin Boulevard, Suite 450, Beechwood, Ohio, 44122.
We know a date night with your Tootsie can be good for your marriage and your love, actually. But did you know that watching a movie with your mate can actually make your marriage merrier? Rich Heldenfels is here with 5 flicks to fire the flames of your relationship, including the classic Casablanca. Rich is the pop culture writer and columnist for the Akron Beacon Journal. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now, before we roll the films, how can a movie help your marriage?
Well, I think, look, with any kind of relationship situation, we look at how other people have handled it for advice. And so why shouldn't we look at movies and see what characters do? And even if the behavior is extreme, it gives us something to talk about with our own significant other. So.
Right, so it's like a marriage counseling session.
but with laughs and action.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to the movie. So the first one up we have is Date Night.
Date Night. Steve Carell, Tina Fey, they're a couple, their marriage is kind of getting blah, and they take some extreme steps toward livening it up. And it's a good movie not only because of that, but because you could do a Steve Carell triple feature with Crazy Stupid Love, this, and Dan in Real Life, and really talk about different kinds of relationships.
Oh, all right. So, relationship movie. We have another film, which is a classic, I think, which is Tootsie.
Yep. Which is about men and women, but also how men and women relate to each other and how they get it wrong and how they get it right. That as we know, Dustin Hoffman discovers his female side, and as he says, it makes him a better man for having been a woman. So.
And the relationships between men and women, yes, it's all out there, isn't it?
It is,
So,
it is.
we have another movie, which is Love Actually.
Love Actually is one of my favorite movies, period, but it has a lot of interlocking relationships, a number of different characters who are at different stages in terms of finding the right person or dealing with a long-standing marriage and that kind of thing.
And there's more than one storyline.
Oh, absolutely. And so you see how these different couples are working, and then all the stories interlock, and it's just a lovely movie, but it's also a way to look at how different people handle situations.
Okay, so there's new love, old love, all kinds of different things.
Family
right?
issues that arise that affect the relationship, between the couple, all kinds of things like that.
Okay. We have another one. Now, this is one I really haven't seen or heard much about, which is Blue Valentine.
It's Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams, two really good actors, and it's dealing with sort of the decline of their marriage, but we see it in the first blush of love, but we also see what's happening at the end and how they're trying to make it work. And yet, there's this constant struggle to do the right thing. It's a fairly graphic movie, but it's an emotionally very, very effective movie. And Michelle Williams was nominated for an Oscar for it.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah.
So it really was a good. How did I miss that one then?
It was sort of an art house film. It wasn't seen by a lot of people, but it is on video, and it should be given a look.
So it's one of those kind that you really ought to take a look at.
Yes.
So now another real classic, which is Casablanca.
Oh, yes. I mean, how could we not include this? A movie that is about not only love but commitment and what we have to do, not only for ourselves but for, culturally to make things work. So you have that great, giving up the woman he loves moment. I hope I'm not spoiling it for anybody. Giving up the woman he
Probably
loves.
everybody's seen Casablanca or heard of it or heard this song.
Right.
What's the title
As
song?
Time Goes By.
Right.
Dewey Wilson. Great song. But it's just a lovely looking again at relationships and how people deal with each other, and especially in a crisis.
All right. Sounds like a good evening for a married couple. So grab some popcorn and your mate and let a movie help reconnect your love connection. My thanks to Rich Heldenfels for finding films that could help you rediscover romance.
To reach Rich Heldenfels, call 330-996-3582 or email him at rheldenfels@thebeaconjournal.com. Next, how to avoid costly divorce traps.
Hilltop Village Apartments is retirement living at its best. Residents enjoy a wide variety of activities and living services with all large first-floor apartments, private screened-in patios with beautiful park views, daily dining room meals, free laundry facilities, 24-hour staff, and so much more. Enjoy safe, comfortable independence at a very affordable price. Call today for a tour and learn how you can get your first month's rent free. Hilltop Village Apartments, retirement living at its best.
Divorce at any age can jeopardize your financial security, but this is particularly true when older people get divorced. And to make matters worse, all too often some assets are overlooked and not split up, causing one spouse to lose out on money unfairly. Here to reveal some of the most common sites for buried treasure is my treasurer of a law partner, Mike Solomon.
Hi, Lori.
Hi. So the divorce rate for people 50 and older has really skyrocketed, hasn't it?
Right, and the trouble is, with the divorce, now all of a sudden you're splitting up assets. It can cause a lot of financial strain on the people divorcing, and you want to make sure you get everything you're entitled to. So you need to look for any hidden assets that you might have forgotten about.
You don't want to miss anything.
Yes.
So you have the first buried treasure as capital loss carryovers.
Right. After the Great Recession, a lot of people sold stocks at losses and they sold real estate at losses. Well, these losses can be used up in future years if you haven't used them up immediately. So if there's going to be a divorce, you want to make sure you address that, decide who gets the capital loss so that you don't lose out on that capital loss for future reduction in your taxes.
That could be significant. you have a second hidden treasure, which is a forgotten pension.
Right. People work over the years and they may have accumulated a pension plan. They forgot about it. Or just so many years ago. And then they get a divorce. Unless you address that pension issue in the divorce settlement, you may end up losing your rights to some of your soon-to-be ex-spouse's pension plan.
Their rights to pension.
Yes.
And you have another buried treasure chest, which is you call overpaid taxes.
Right. Let's say your spouse is self-employed, so they're not going to have withholding like you have on a W-2, so they're going to pay estimated taxes every quarter. They may overpay their taxes, intentionally or unintentionally. Let's say they overpay their taxes, they're going to get a refund. So if you're going to if you're in the process of divorce, you want to address that refund and decide how you divvy up the money. If they've got a sneaky spouse, they may overpay their estimated taxes purposely just so they can hide some of that money. So you want to make sure you get what you're entitled to.
Okay. Any other bonus treasures?
Well, one thing you ought to think about, if you're going to get a divorce, you need to address all the beneficiary forms and your annuities and life insurance and 401ks. I'll mention real quickly, 401ks. If you don't write your soon-to-be ex-spouse off of that 401k, she's going to get it even after divorce. So you want to address all those things to make sure who inherits those assets on your death go the way you want.
Wow, not a treasure, but a trap.
Yes, a trap.
More and more people are getting divorced later in life, tarnishing their financial security. It should be the golden years. Don't make matters worse by failing to dig up the dollars that could cushion your financial future. For more information, give Mike a call. His number's next.
Call Budish, Solomon, Steiner, and Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information or to schedule a speaker for your organization. Or log on to www.bssplaw.com.
Thanks for joining us. On next week's show, we'll work out how exercise benefits your back. Then we've gathered together great ways to give without being generous to a fault. Plus, we'll prescribe information on how to maximize the effectiveness of your medications. And we'll detail how to avoid leaving your heirs a legal mess in this new digital age. Until then, please remember to make the most of your golden opportunities.
Would you like to join our kitchen conversation? All you have to do is call toll-free 1-877-765-1543 and leave us your question, name, and phone number. Or log on to www.golden.tv for all the latest information and show updates.